All right, so this week, the biggest stories, or one of the biggest stories, have been the release of the Epstein Files. And every single person that does any type of content has been talking about it all week. There's been people looking at it from a million different ways. And one of the biggest, most important things that I can think with the Epstein Files and with the Epstein stories and with all this coming out is that no one is going to be arrested. The Justice Department is not going to do, the Department of Justice is not going to do anything about it. And if anything, this should show you that without a doubt, there is an evil cabal of powerful people who are running the country running the country at least, and probably the world. And it should make you just realize, or I'll say it this way. I don't see how you look at everything with the Epstein files and Bill Gates, who's been involved in it, and some of the stuff with Bill Gates and Elon Musk and Trump, and just some of the rumors of what he's doing in the rooms, and just all of the different things that came out with these files, and not believe in God, because it's clear they're doing some evil ritualistic things. It's weird that it's clear, not weird, it's a lot of weird. It's clear that he was working with other countries. It's clear that this is more than just a PDF file. I don't know the things on YouTube. It's clear that this is more than just about children and PDF philia and these disgusting things. It's also about powerful people and the role that these powerful people have in the world, the control they have on the world, and what they do, and the just blackmail and just the disgusting things. And again, just to tie it back in, just for my intro, I don't see how you look at all these things and say, hey, these are still happening, and there's a lot of powerful people that are still around, connected, that were connected to him. And I don't see how you don't believe in a higher power of some sort, because it's clear these people believe in the evil version of that, right? And it should make you just, everything with this Epstein should just make you ask questions. Ask questions. Be curious, because it's clear that the things that we see on the news, that you see on Fox, CNN, or the things that are just in your news cycle or in your bubble, is not all there is, and there is more that is going on. Okay, that is one of the biggest things I've taken with the Epstein files. And another thing is, no one will be arrested. No one has been arrested, and you should ask yourself, one of the first whys is, why is that, right? Why do we have these files that these files that are released, this information that has been released to the public? And that's just what we've gotten, with all the redacted names and certain things. So the Department of Justice, the government, has even more. Why is no one being arrested? That's a very good question to start off with. That's a very good question to start out with. With why? Now, again, there's been millions and millions of files. There's millions of them. I haven't been looking at them. I've been seeing things through Twitter. I've been seeing a lot. I'm gonna start actually looking at them. For this video, I'm gonna just show some of the craziest things I've seen with the files, and then I think I'm gonna start taking maybe a little bit of time, every day, to read them for 10 to 20 minutes, because it's absolutely insane. So the first thing that I want to show with this is, I guess, conversation that Jeffrey Epstein may still be alive, right? Let's take a look at this. So this is huge. Okay. And these are some files. We're going to look through this. So this is huge. The individual who anonymously posted on 4chan the morning of Epstein's death, August 10th, 2019, claiming he witnessed weird happenings at the prison before Epstein's death, has been identified in the Epstein files. Okay, so apparently on 4chan, and let's look up what this is. 4chan was a little bit more of a little bit before my time. What was it? So, anonymous image board website. Okay, so you can put stuff up on it anonymously. And apparently somebody talked about, because there's, Epstein supposedly hung himself in his in a cell. And I guess somebody on 4chan posted that they witnessed weird things before Epstein killed himself, and that maybe it was a possibility that he's still alive, right? So let's look through this, and I guess this is in the files. This is was posted on 4chan, which is anonymous, and I guess through looking at the files, because there was another conversation on a lot of the redactions on the files being done lazily. I guess they were able to see who the guy was that posted that on 4chan, and they were able to verify that he worked at the prison. So it gives validity to that statement. A difficult word. It gives validity to that statement of, hey, I saw weird things the day he died, right? And just giving some context to this, because you wouldn't just maybe believe this, or you'd be able to say this is a conspiracy theory if you see something on 4chan and it's a random person saying this. All right, so let's go into this. Roberto Gurjalva, an officer at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, has been identified as the anonymous prison employee who posted on 4chan claiming Epstein left his cell Friday evening shackled in a medical wheelchair, while at the same time an unauthorized trip van arrived at the prison, which he believes took Epstein away the night before news broke of his death. The day after Epstein's death, U.S. Attorney General Geoffrey Berman of the SDNY, opened a grand jury proceeding and subpoenaed 4chan, Apple, AT&T, and Citibank for records aiming to uncover Gurjalva's identity following the anonymous 4chan post. G's name is not redacted on his bank records included in the SDNY subpoena response from Citibank. Okay, so this is how they were able to see it. It's not redacted on the bank records for the subpoena response from Citibank for his 4chan post. Let me make sure you can just hear me okay with this. Let me just make, yeah, we're looking good. All right, making sure I'm looking good too. Right? And ties to the same prison officer, Roberto G., whose statements were released as part of the prison's investigation into Epstein's death. This is huge. We now have validation. The 4chan post from 8/10/2019 is a legitimate eyewitness account, right? So let's look at this. All right. Not saying anything after this. Please do not try to dox me. But last night after 4:15 count, they took him medical in a wheelchair, front cuffed, but not one triage nurse says they spoke to him. Next thing we know, a trip van shows up. We do not do releases on the weekends unless a judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single man cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing. The trip van did not sign in. The van didn't sign in, and we did not record the plate number. So they're saying that, so he's saying he worked there, right? He was a guard. And he's saying the night before they took him in a medical wheelchair. And then a van shows up. The van was not unauthorized. They saying vans don't usually come on weekends. And then he hangs himself the next day. And the van did not sign in. You guys, I'm shaking right now, but I think they switched him out. And then this looks like, this is from the court documents, records provided through Persino. You guys can't see that. Let me see. All right, this is the court documents. And let's see, it was posted by, that's redacted. Okay, this is the same thing. You see, this is just giving a different look at the court documents. And then now 222 currency. How does, the only question I have, correctional center. Oh, passed on his upcoming staff member. Oh, because I was gonna say, how does this page connect these 4chan, that this is really this guy, but I think it's this one that would. From Gurjalva, past information from Special Housing Unit on Friday, August 9th at approximately past oncoming staff member, that inmate. So yeah, it's looking like on 4chan, like the day of Epstein's death, it came out in the files that someone on 4chan posted that they saw Epstein taken out in a medical van the day before he was killed, and the van didn't register. And probably a lot of people were like, we don't believe this because who posted it? And it looks like the guy who posted it was someone named Roberto Gurjalva, who was an officer at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. Let's see if we can see a picture of him. Let me see. Let me get a picture of him. I don't know. But one of the biggest and craziest conspiracies with Epstein is that he's still alive, that he didn't die, which I'm not gonna comment on that with my personal feelings on that, but this leads credence to that, right? So that's definitely one of the craziest things I've seen this week with the Epstein Files. The other crazier things are just the people who are involved in it. I mean, we have Elon Musk, we have Bill Gates. I'll talk about Bill Gates, right? And there's a lot of crazy things with Bill Gates that have been talked about. There's been talked about that he has mosquitoes, that he's like genetically engineering. I don't know. There's a lot with Bill Gates, but apparently there's emails with Bill Gates about like a SD cover up, an STD cover up allegation where apparently he was going to the island, or allegedly he was doing the Epstein activities with Epstein, and he got an STD and gave that STD to his wife, and that he emailed Epstein and asked like, hey, can you under the table give me some like STD pills so I can get my wife clean? And a lot of people then went back and found videos of Bill Gates' wife during the time that they were getting divorced. And Bill Gates' wife was like, she did an interview and she was like, I did not like the fact that Bill Gates and Epstein were friends. And she said she didn't like it for a lot of reasons, right? So people were just going back to that, but people have been seeing and just posting a bunch of emails that fact that Bill Gates and Epstein were friends. There was even something that I saw where Epstein was like, bro, we've been friends for 20 years, and now you're not trying to be my friend anymore because your wife is beefing with me. So that was something that I saw. So people just, that connection between Epstein and Bill Gates, and that's a big thing with all of this, is the people and the connections. So this week, when was this? February 4th? So this is yesterday. Bill Gates says he regrets every minute he spent with Jeffrey Epstein, denies STD cover-up allegation. The comment comes after Gates' ex-wife, Melinda Gates, said he had to answer for what was in the Epstein files. He had to answer for it, right? I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior. Alleged Gates, the new Epstein drop. Alleged Gates was planning on secretly giving his wife antibiotics after contacting an STD from Russian girls.
Saying he could get them to give money to Global Health. You know, in retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with a lot of.
So he's saying he was trying to
very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to Global Health. You know,
he was with Epstein for philanthropy. Okay, Epstein had a lot of money. I'm trying to do great things for the world.
Retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there.
The email was to himself. The email is false. The email that he is allegedly referring to, an Epstein emails DOD dropped. Jeffrey sent himself emails memorializing a fight he had with Bill Gates. In it, he says that Bill Gates got STD from Russian prostitutes, hookers, and then asked, I don't know if you can say that on YouTube, and then asked Jeffrey for antibiotics that Bill could secretly give Melinda without her noticing. Right? And this is the email. I'm not going to read through, and I'm going to see if I can just find. A lot of the tweets I've been seeing has like them, like the part you want to see highlighted. Let me see if I can skim through that. The greatest from Jeffrey to Jeffrey. He did send it to himself. I feel like it would be honest to put myself in the future. From helping Bills to get drugs in order to deal with consequences of sex with Russian girls to facilitating his illicit tryst. I gotta look that word up. Not gonna lie. A private romantic rendezvous between lovers? Oh my gosh. Good word. His illicit tryst with married women to being asked to provide Adderall to bridge tournaments. as I am a medical doctor but have no prescriptions writing ability. What? Though it was kindly suggested that I make a transition to a new position after my 6 years of servitude, and that Bill would, in his words, give me 2 years severance pay, I feel would be dishonest of myself in my future. From helping Bill, wow. Okay, and this is a long one of him just saying, I cannot believe that you have chosen to disregard our friendship. And I think what I'm going to start doing is for you guys to be able to read these yourself, and I'm going to save this. I'm going to put these in if I don't read through something, so you guys can on your own time read through this and do it if you want. I think I have to pay like for YouTube to do that, so maybe I might put it on like my Twitter account. Maybe I make it like a Twitter of it or something. We'll see. And let me make a mark of this. Bear with me 1 second. You can skip like 45 seconds ahead if you don't want to watch it. Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates, email. Alright, I'm just putting it in my notes. Insert link. Right? So these are these emails that Bill Gates is talking about here. That he's like saying emails to himself that I had nothing to do with. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know where he's getting this from. Jeff is saying, hey, bro, you're coming over. I'm giving you drugs secretly to give to your wife because you're getting STDs from having sex with Russian girls. And you're also having like rendezvous, like intense rendezvous with married women. And you're like acting like you don't know me and I'm a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy.
So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent and some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he do this and say this about you, do you think?
It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Okay. No one believes that for sure. No one believes that for sure. So that's crazy. Bill Gates wrapped up in Epstein. Elon Musk was a big one. Apparently Elon was
But my favorite part of the
apparently Elon was begging to go to the island and like be doing all this disgusting, horrible, terrible, evil stuff. And like I guess he was like trying to get in. Epstein sometimes wasn't letting him in. It was like a whole thing. The Daily Show and Jon Stewart has one of the funniest things on this I was seeing on TikTok, so I'll just play this. This was one of my other just most wild things with the Epstein Files is this like whole thing with Elon begging to be gotten in. Because remember back in like a year ago in March in 2025, it was a big thing, right? Where Elon was like, the reason that Trump doesn't want the Epstein Files to be released is because he's on it. And it's like this whole thing where Trump and Elon were beefing. And I don't even remember, what were they arguing about? Something, they were beefing about something. And Elon was going on Twitter and doing what he does on Twitter all the time and like ranting. And he's like, Trump is on the Epstein Files, which Trump is. But he didn't mention that he's also on the Epstein Files. Sorry, I gotta go to the chiropractor. But he also didn't mention that he's in the Epstein Files as well. So let's look at this video.
Musk Epstein emails. You ever have a friend where you don't really share the same sense of humor, but you share the same interests? And they shared the same interests?
Epstein writes him and says, any plans for New York? The opening of the General Assembly of the UN has many interesting people coming to the House.
Many interesting people, Elon. Wink, wink. Get it?
Elon replies, I run and lead product design engineering for 2 complicated companies. Flying to New York to see UN diplomats do nothing would be an unwise use of time.
I'm sorry, Jeffrey, could you make it a little more obvious for your friend?
To which Jeffrey Epstein replies, do you think I am retarded? Just kidding. There is no one over 25 and all very cute.
What the f***? We've all had that friend. Why would I go to the bathroom with you to go skiing? Skiing is an outdoor sport requiring a mountain and equipment and.
I will say, I am susceptible to potentially sometimes being that friend. I will also say, Elon being just weird and all the things and conversation, like the rumors and the lore on Elon of like him trying to pretend that he's a genius in this game and he like sucks at the game, and like the lore and just like him with Twitter and wanting to seem like he's the cool kid in the block, and like that picture of Elon, like picture like Elon jumping neck meme, like the picture of Elon jumping next to Trump and Trump looks shitty, like just all the different lore on Elon just makes him seem like a really sad, on top of awful individual. And it's just like, yeah, it's just like Elon being in the Epstein Files, begging to get into it or not knowing what's going on, is just the perfect thing that you would consider from Elon. He should also be arrested, but you know he won't. All right, and then with Elon, what else do I want to say? Pusha T and Jay-Z were in the Epstein Files. Let me give some context. They were in as like, there was like a part of the files, or there's like things where there's like tips that the FBI got, and the tips were anonymous from anybody, right? And there was like tips about Jay-Z being at an Epstein party, and that Pusha T was like gathering, and he was a courier, so he would basically get women together and like get the women together to be used in sexual, like to use in the sexual parties, or to be taken advantage of by Epstein, right? That's what Pusha T was doing. And the woman is saying that she was waking up on multiple occasions and Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein were in the room while she was being assaulted. Now, again, this is all alleged. Again, this is in a part of the files where it's not like from court documents. It's not from testimony from a person that's named. It's anonymous from a tip place, right? So that started a whole debate within the black community and hip hop of like Jay-Z, because, you know, with Rock Nation, people talking about Rock Nation being like, you know, you don't talk bad about Rock Nation or their handle you, is basically like the theme on Rock Nation, and like what they do to people, how they treat their artists. Nicki was going off on Jay-Z and Rock Nation. People just talking about Jay-Z, and, you know, he was, how old is he when he got with Beyonce? How old was Jay-Z when he got with Aaliyah? And a picture, not got with Aaliyah, but that weird picture of him and Aaliyah really young, and just Jay-Z like young girls. And then Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein's relationship, where you have like videos of Jay-Z. Let me try to find where you have videos of Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein like seeming to be like good friends. Let me see if I typed his name in right and I get something. Like, people keep referring to this video of like someone asked Jay-Z
what it means for mass incarceration. In your thoughts on Donald Trump for mass?
Jay, and as a result, he's my friend.
Weinstein, interesting, and we know about Weinstein and the weird proclivities he has. Okay, but Jay-Z and Weinstein having a relationship, right? So them being in the files was just like, even if it is a tip line, there's people saying, okay, what's up with Jay-Z's name being in all these freaky stuff, and how many freaky stuff can Jay-Z be in before it's like Jay-Z's freaky too, and then he's going to be the next person to come out with all this stuff about. That's the conversation. I'm not saying I believe that, but I'm saying that's the conversation, and that's one of the most interesting things that I came out with. And it's interesting how many media people don't want to talk about Jay-Z. Joe Budden's, like Wayno, like just all the people who say, even if you believe these tips are complete BS, there's people who don't even want to have the conversation. And I think the conversation with that, just asking a question of, is it a reason to be fearful and scared to talk about Jay-Z and Rock Nation, or is it just out of so much respect for Jay-Z and what he does as a business and what he means like as a businessman, as a black, like there's conversations about that, and that is fascinating to me. I think you should have him. I think that there is a chance that Jay-Z could be a little bit freaky, and I think there is a chance that it should be scared to talk about Rock Nation. No disrespect. Maybe I'm crazy. No disrespect to Rock Nation. And this is all alleged. This is all alleged. And Rock Nation, before you do anything to me, come talk to me. Have a conversation with me. I'd be willing to talk about it to see what's going on. Don't just like, shadow. I don't know. Who knows what they do? They talk like, yeah, let me not go on a thing. My bad, Rock Nation. I'm just talking. Allegedly. Allegedly. That's what the people are saying. So let's look at these, okay? 1994. Revere herself as part of a victim of sex abuse by Epstein. Described the abuse occurred during parties. 1996. An unknown man abducted her from her home, and she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, right? Who it looks like they have some friendship with each other. All right, and let me, right, well, Weinstein had inserted his fingers into redacted, believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. She was abducted on several occasions, awaking each time in an opulent indoor setting. Opulent. I know what that word means, but I don't at the same time. Opulent. Sorry for looking up names. I know we're not supposed to mention we don't know anything. All right, rich and lavish, beautiful. Money. He got money. I know we're not supposed to admit we don't know anything. I didn't know what opulent meant off the top of my head, okay? I did not know what opulent meant off the top of my head, okay? Let me get better at pronunciation. Indoor setting. Suffered from sex abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. Ricard Leon Black and William Burr, the current United States Attorney General, being president. Current at that time. Right? At the time of when this was put in. And this was put in 2019. So keep in mind, this is from a tip. Like tips that the FBI is getting. So this is why a lot of people don't believe it. In approximately 2006, okay, all right. And then here's another one that mentions Pusha T. Each occasion, she was drugged, clouding her memory, performed by friendships with the victims. Among her handlers, identified the artist Pusha T as a handler, right? So these were in the tips. This was another big thing that was talked about at the Epstein Files, okay? And then another thing with the Epstein Files that was interesting, that this is one of those things where I do really want to make a tweet of all of my sources for these videos so you guys will be able to see them, because there is this cool thing, and I haven't even looked at it on the computer yet, where somebody like put the Epstein Files as like a Google Docs or a Google Drive email for you to be able to look through them. And this was just amazing as a way to look through them. And this might be the thing that I look through to do my searches because I might do like a continue to look into this, right? And do like a every couple of days, like an update, like the most crazier things I'm seeing with this and what's going on. Because again, I want to just get back to what I started this with. If with all of these, right, it can be scary, annoying, disgusting, that no one's being arrested, that it looks like our government isn't doing anything. But I think this should tell people, like, we are in a spiritual warfare. These people are doing these evil and disgusting things because they like to, because it gives them power, or they feel like it gives them power. It feels like it gives them control. And that's, I think when you start to look at it that way, you start to look at the world differently. And I think that's one of the biggest things with the Epstein, right? Just look at all the people, and it's just like, don't look up to famous people. It's just a bunch of different things with this that it makes me think of. But this is crazy. Let me look. Yeah. Like, they were cool. Normally I would agree. April. Benefit analysis would probably show Tesla doing better with you getting more sleep. It's 3 a.m. in California. I'm still working on Tesla and SpaceX email. We'll hit this act shortly. We'll be up at 7. Record. Alright. So this is an interesting thing that I saw a tweet of, that it just shows the Epstein emails as like this source you can search that looks like Google Docs, so it's really easy, or not Google Docs but Gmail, so it's really easy to move through. But those are some of the interesting things that I've seen this week of the Epstein Files. You know, he still could be alive. Bill Gates is connected with him, and Bill Gates was trying to get STD medication to give to his wife because he was having sex with Russian prostitutes. Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein were at Elon was begging to get to the Epstein Files, like, and there's a bunch of things, and I'll continue to do updates on this. Trump was in them, of course he is, but that's 30 minutes. That's the craziest things I've seen with the Epstein Files this week.